Were you born here in the United States?
Yeah, I was born here, born and raised in San Francisco. Yeah, yeah.
You ever thought of making music in the Philippines?
I thought of going there. I've been to Japan many times. The thing would be to try to, get, who would be connected through, And I've only had a few instances where I got to meet people, great artists from there that were, like Bobby Enriquez is one, He's from Mindanao. And there's people there that play all the time. Annie Brazil, but I really didn't have much contact with them. So all the people I knew, my elders and people that mentored me, they were all from Stockton, born here, raised here. So that's kind of that's my experience,
Do you think there's like a connection from Latin jazz towards to Filipino jazz? Or there's like a fusion between those? Or a connection or history?
No, but I know a lot of Filipinos gravitate, towards that. I guess it's in that Spaniard connection, when they were in the Philippines or Puerto Rico, so it's not that uncommon to see Filipinos gravitating to any style because they seem to have a natural affinity for music. Like everybody in my family played, not professionally, but my mother was a professional pianist. But yeah, it's not like in the U.S. you have the music of the Latinos. You have Mexican American music, and then you have salsa, which is Afro-Puerto Rican, Afro-Cuban based. So Filipinos, they don't really have a like a genre, like Filipino jazz, or it's not a real, it's not somebody that's a big genre of music, that when you go to the radio and you go, okay, this is straight ahead jazz, this is Dixieland jazz, this is Latin jazz, So maybe that's the next point to be explored, like from you guys.
I mean, what should people listen to Filipino artists and Filipino jazz and that sort of thing? Would they be able to? Should they listen to jazz and Filipino jazz?
Well, yeah. I mean, especially if you're from here and I see a Filipino playing jazz, I'm like, I got to know right away, his background and who he listened to and how he assimilated, and what he became,
Yeah, I'm just looking for my list of my questions. What another question that I would ask? What would be a message to younger artists? What would be the advice for them?
My advice would be find your voice early. I mean, take from everybody, but find your identity. Because what happens is with a lot of jazz players is they end up sounding too much like a particular person, and then it's kind of hard because they pigeonhole you. Like for instance, I ended up, most of the recordings I did, after the funk recordings were Latin jazz, so I almost got pigeonholed. I wasn't even considered a jazz player. They said, oh, he's a Latin jazz player. And then when they hear me play straight ahead jazz, I said, oh no, you play straight ahead too. So, to find your voice and identity and get a strong foundation and, study who came before you, and especially if it's something like your culture, because that's where you're going to really get connected, like knowing that I had to know who Flip was and Rudy Tunio was, that Stockton really was kind of the breeding ground, like the Filipino jazz scene, because they were doing it there. There were bands here. There were a lot of big bands, but they were more like society bands, Like there was a guy, George, who played at the Dimasalong House, and he wrote everything by pen, and it was amazing.
Wow. Because what I've observed from Filipino artists is that majority of them do covers.
Yeah.
Is there? Do you think there's like a particular reason why they would want to just do covers instead of looking into their culture of music?
Yeah, because of what's before them. What's before them is what are they looking at? So, you know, like for instance, me, you know, it was Santana, Tower of Power, you know. So for me, it came through seeing the musicians in the band. And so, oh, he's been, you know, and I'm like, oh, right on.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's what you have to work with, you know, and then it takes somebody really extraordinary to be able to incorporate like what John Jane did or Anthony Brown, where he did a monk album with all Asian instruments, you know. You know, it takes that kind of preconceived thing, or like Hafez, you know, using his culture, playing in between the notes, you know. But, you know, those cats are, you know, they're far and few, you know. So for Filipinos, it's about, you know, finding something that you think would be valid and that would bring it, would heighten your cultural experience, you know. Because it's, you know, because as you know, Filipinos, they just get in there and they mix it up and, you know, they're in there, you know. And it's almost like, you know, they're part of that culture, you know. Because that's kind of what Filipino culture is, you know, it's a blend, you know, of a lot of different influences, you know, Spaniard and, you know, Muslim, you know, Chinese. And so there's a lot of different, you know, different forms. But I will say it's important also to try to assimilate into the main, because you're going to be in a better position, and then they won't pigeonhole you as like, oh, well, he's okay for, you know, an Asian, or, you know, you used to hear stuff like that. Not so much now, because, you know, there's a lot more players now, people playing, you know. But yeah, to get to that kind of height, you know, for somebody to say, well, what's Filipino jazz, you know, it's still to be, to me, it's still to be defined by, you know, I think probably the next generation, you know, by somebody who says, who can take bits and pieces of the culture and blend it and then bring it out, and then somebody say, wow, that's totally different. Yeah, because that's a lot harder to do. It's a lot easier to, for me, you know, it's easier to be a sideman, especially with well-established artists, you know, because you just get your horn out and you play. So to get that high art, it takes somebody that's got that foresight, you know, and that vision, you know.
Did you had any troubles from growing up for choosing your path of being a musician? Because we understand our as a culture of Filipino, we would want our kids to have them into the medical field,
Yeah.
or industry of that, for example.
I was lucky, I think, because my mother was, you know, she had a master's from Columbia, so I got a lot of support, and you know, I did it for a long time, since I was in high school, so I can't say that, you know, I got that pressure. I'd always get, if I was dating somebody, I'd always get that thing to, so what do you do for a living? And I'd say, I'm a musician. And he says, so what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
You know, where they, so it's not for everybody, but, you know, definitely teaching probably at some point has to happen, you know, no matter how high you get up on the, you know, on the pedestal, because then you're giving back, and, you know, you get that reciprocity where you're just not playing, you know, for yourself, or, you know.
Let's see if there's any more questions that I've written down. I think that might be. Let me see. 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 Let time I ask about that. And like my last question to ask you, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food, that's a hard one.
Okay. It's
I
the
guess-
hardest question.
Yeah, I'd have to go with, I'd have to go with adobo.
Adobo.
Yeah.
Like chicken adobo?
Chicken and pork.
Chicken and pork?
Yeah,
That's-
chicken and pork.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's my favorite too. All right, Mr. Lucio Mandolio, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We highly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.